Living your best daily life with calm and confidence, no matter what happens that day. Sophrology equips you with the tools to deal with the challenges of life and teaches you resilience. These are the words told to me by Carin Van Buuren, and today we're going to dive deeper into these thoughts and understand them a little better. Hello, everybody. To everyone live with us today, thank you all for joining in. A very warm welcome to our regular audience, and of course, to those who are joining us for the first time as well. Allow me to tell you a little about TLR Now. TLR Now is a coaching, training, and mentoring service provider based out of Pune in India. TLR Shows, which we are on right now, is a place where we bring some amazing people who inspire us to go above and beyond. So, welcome to the 67th edition of TLR Shows, everyone. I am Isha Vikram, a trainer in early childhood education, and your host for the next hour. I have worked in the cultural sector in Belgium, and my goal in life is to introduce empathy and compassion in early childhood with a mission to make the world a more respectful and tolerant place to live in. I'm always open to meaningful collaborations to spread the message of harmony across the world, and that brings me to our guest for today, Carin Van Buuren. Carin is a sophrologist, a master mindfulness practitioner, a holistic life coach from France. After years of running a successful business coaching company for managers in international cooperations throughout Europe, she discovered that many workplace issues are rooted in problems on a very personal level. So she now helps people to reinforce their resilience in all aspects of life to unlock their full potential. She specializes in stress management, burnout prevention, and employee wellness by focusing on self development, resilience, building, balancing energy levels, pain management, and much more. So, today we will talk about Karen's dedication to the practice of sophrology. And this episode is all about calm, confidence, and resilience. Welcome to the show, Karen.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for inviting me. I want to be able to say that I'm very excited that TRL shows have invited me and given me the opportunity to explain a little bit more what sophrology is, why I'm so passionate about it, and what it can mean to have this methodology in practice within your life and what it can do for you.
Definitely. It's our pleasure, Karen. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling calm and confident that this will be an amazing show and that we will be able to provide some very practical and useful information to people that are watching. And thanks everyone that is present to watch the show.
Perfect. Fantastic. So let's then dive in. Yeah.
Let's
So,
go.
Karen,
Let's do this.
yeah, let's do this. So, Karen, allow me to start with a very fundamental question. I would really appreciate it if you could educate us a little on the topic itself. So, what is sophrology?
Well, sophrology is a scientific method and it means the science of consciousness in harmony. And this method was developed already in the 60s by a a Colombian neuropsychiatrist living in Spain. And originally it was developed for war veterans with PTSD. And it's a
Mhm.
combination of Western neuroscience, so the science of psychology, of physiology, neuroscience, and that combined with Eastern practices, yoga, Tibetan Buddhism, and Japanese Zen meditation. So Alfonso Caycedo, the founder of the method, he studied with all the big names in Western science in his time in Europe, and then spent multiple years in India and in Japan and
Mhm.
in Nepal to study the Eastern practices there, and in the end, he developed this method. In the practical sense
Interesting.
in our life, it means that what we can do with it is to come back to a state of balance way more quickly when we encounter difficult life events. And it makes sure that we are able to deal with all the challenges in our life in a more positive way and to reduce the impact of it.
Okay. So then I heard you mention the word consciousness. It would be nice if we talk about that a little. What is consciousness to you, or consciousness within the context of sophrology?
Yeah. Well, consciousness for me as a person, um, because consciousness is very subjective, is feeling presently aware in my body, checking in the morning, what kind of feeling am I in, what kind of state of body awareness is there. Do I have a lot of energy, or do I feel really tired or a bit edgy? The same I do for the mental state. What is my present mental state? Am I nervous? Am I calm? Am I enthusiastic? And then being aware of my surroundings, the world around me. And that was what consciousness meant to me after having studied being a mindfulness practitioner and a sophologist. And when I went back to see what the definitions are on consciousness, wherever you can find a definition on the internet, different um, theories about consciousness, it is exactly that, being presently aware of the world within you and the world outside. And that is made up by all our experiences. So it's a very personal thing. And
Mm-hmm.
when you go to old Buddhist texts and in Hinduism, they talk about consciousness as, it's translated as a form of life force and knowledge. The moment you are more presently aware of what is going on within you and outside of you, and you know where you want to go, that knowledge will make you better prepared for whatever falls on your path or is already on your path.
Mm-hmm.
So becoming consciously aware will help you deal and prepare for life in a much more calm and confident way.
Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong, but what I get from being presently aware is to have a consciousness and a sense of understanding of what is going on within and what is going on outside, and then being able to be aware of all of it together to be able to move
Yes,
forward.
what we do within
Yeah.
Sophrology is we give you the tools to go on an internal journey and to give your
Mm-hmm.
consciousness a voice. So, what is going on within your body? What is going on within your mind? And to reconnect the both, because
Mm-hmm.
whatever happens in the mind has an impact on the body, and the other way around. Whatever happens in life in general leaves a footprint on our mental state, on our physical state, and we can't see both of them disconnected. So when you're consciously aware of what is going on, and with the tools of sophrology make this internal journey,
Mm-hmm.
then you will also be more aware of your presence connected to the world and the surrounding area, the people around you. It's not only the world around you, but it's, of course, the relationships that you have with the people
Right.
around you and with your work. So it will help you in both your private life as well as in your professional
Right. So, uh, talking about private life, Karin, I would love to know a little more about you and what got you into sophrology. And in our conversation earlier, sometime I discovered that you started out with working for the Ministry of Public Health, if I'm not mistaken.
life. Yes.
And
Well,
yeah,
yeah.
and after that, after which you started your own coaching business catering to multinational organizations. And it seems like you've changed your gears quite a lot many times to become what you are today, which is a sophrologist, of course. So, what prompted this move?
Well, so my life path was not exactly linear, and I was
Mm-hmm.
forced by certain circumstances to reinvent myself on a regular basis, which is what life is all about. Our life path is not a straight thing. You know, you can't walk through a forest and expect the road to be straight. There will always be obstacles on your way. So I
Mm-hmm.
am originally Dutch, born in Amsterdam, now spend my time between France and the Netherlands, and most of the time virtually online, of course. And I originally graduated as a veterinarian, but very soon after having my certificate license as a doctor of veterinary medicine, I was asked by the Ministry of Public Health to work for them. From that on, I moved towards coaching, and then I got all my certificates to become a business coach in project management, negotiation skills, team management. And at a certain moment in time, at about 50, I was in a very good place.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I had a wonderful job, I had a wonderful relationship, and I was like, yes, 50 is amazing, it's plain sailing, everything is wonderful and fine. And then in 2 years' time, a lot of stuff happened. Some big physical issues after having some accidents, a work accident and a car accident outside of my fault, outside of my realm. So those things happened to us. Illnesses, depression of my uh, life partner, the love of my life, whom I consequently lost. So from having everything, I went to having no grip and no control on anything. I already had gone through a sort of personal transformation around 40. And at that moment in time was when I started studying mindfulness and studying all the gurus and taking out bits and bobs of the best of all gurus. But that had taken me a long time. And I thought, you know, there has to be an easier way, a quicker way. I can't spend another 10 years until I'm 60 trying to get out of the valley of doom. And by, well, call it universe, call it synchronicities, every single time I fell upon the word sophrology, it popped up wherever I looked around me. And so I didn't know what it was. And I thought, okay, now I have to find out what it is. And what spoke to me directly was that it is a way of helping us to regain back control in our life and to be able to deal with the impact of whatever and become the author of our own life, to construct our life in the best possible way in harmony.
Mm-hmm.
So when I found out that that spoke to me, that that was a thing that I could do, I immediately found out how I was able to go and study that. So even before I had a sophrology session of my own as a client, I immediately started to look for a school and started to be educated on sophrology. And because we go through the school having sophrology sessions as well, for 2.5 years, I completely dove into the practice and into the training, and I became a sophrologist, and I never regretted it, and I never looked back.
Wow, that's really inspiring, and thank you, Karan, for sharing such a personal story with us. Sophrology has helped you overcome such a difficult phase in your life. So I am sure that hearing this, all our audience will also understand that the difficulties that they are facing on a day-to-day basis, no matter how small or big they are, sophrology is going to be helpful to them, as it has been to you in overcoming such a difficult phase in your life. Um, you can you tell me then, what is it that you say that you do not regret it one day that you got into sophrology and you're a sophrologist now, working in this field, what is it that excites you the most?
I think what excites me the most is that it seems like this methodology has become more into the picture exactly at the time that we need it most. Nobody could have foreseen, for instance, the situation that we are in now with the pandemic and all the impact that it has on our daily lives.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that we can still have a functioning form of positive life, no matter what the circumstances, is something that um, is especially now very important. What excites me about Sophology is that normally we do not have control over the circumstances outside of us.
Mm-hmm.
The situation that you're in or the life event that happens to you is something that sometimes does not change within a certain amount of time. You don't have a timeline. It's not like, okay, I know that within 2 months this is going to be different. So when you can't change the circumstances around you, you feel powerless and you have a sense of loss of control. What I'm assuming a lot of people in these circumstances today have. And what excites me is that I am able to help people to transform their perception on life, even when the circumstances around us do not change. So it seems to me like, yes, there was mindfulness and that was already popular. And now this methodology that is more about a three-dimensional, complete form of helping you deal is present right at the moment, is becoming more well known exactly at the time. It's like it's another synchronicity, and I'm so
Mm-hmm.
happy that I am able to provide and help people with those tools. Because yes, stress starts in the mind, but in the end, it
Mm-hmm.
expresses itself in the body. And we're already too much in our mind with all the virtual online stuff, and we are so in lockdown that it is all up here. So the last thing we need is to stay up there uh, for too long.
Mm-hmm. Right. So then I recognize that what you do has impacted a lot of lives. And what I would love to know is how this experience of healing people through sophrology impacted your life, impacted you, the people around you in your personal life. Um, so, yeah, to put it in one sentence, how does your work impact your life and your happiness?
Oh, in one sentence, that's very hard for
Mhm.
me.
I put it
Um,
in one sentence as a question. You can go ahead
okay,
as.
well, when I started studying psychology, my professor already told me that I should be prepared for a big transformation.
Mhm.
And it transformed me more than I thought it would ever. I was already quite a positive person. I had already received some nasty slaps from the universe in my life, and I already, was in that frame of mind. Uh, but what it has given me is like there was a veil that lifted. It has made me more empowered and stable and more patient.
Mhm.
And towards other people, patience was something that I quite lacked. And
Okay.
what happened for me is that whatever happens, which is not always a good thing, it will bring me back into a balanced state of mind. I now have my own personal toolbox that whatever I experience, which has an impact on my level of stress or nervousness or on my body, I can now sort of go into my backpack, pick out one of the practical techniques or exercises do that and go back to a state of calm, which of course, when it impacts me and
Mm-hmm.
I am a more calm and patient and coordinated and confident person, of course, that will impact the people around me as well. For instance, um, I'm able to help the people around me in a very practical way, which is no longer feeling powerless myself as well. I had a friend who had to take an airplane after 17 years for the first time. And the last time she had flown, there was a lot of turbulence. So from that moment on, she had never set another foot in a plane again because it was too frightening for her. But she didn't have a choice. And she called me and she said, I just can't do it. I can't get on this plane, but I have to because of family circumstances. And I don't know what to do. And I had now the techniques to help her out and to guide her through a technique and an exercise to reduce her fear and anxiety. And she got
Mm-hmm.
on the plane. And when she landed in Canada, she called me and she said, I was so happy to have your technique. And that's a very practical way of impacting the lives of people around you.
Oh, I did not imagine it to be that hands-on and that, a a day-to-day kind of event that that sophrology would help one with. So that's very interesting. It's not just
Yeah, that's
the
something
typical
that I
constant.
really want to convey that because we talked about consciousness and we talked about making an internal journey, what I really want to stress is that in the end, that practical toolbox, very easy practical methods are there to help you at the moment that you need them.
Mm-hmm.
It's very adaptable to the situation at hand.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So this I'm just switching the direction a bit, and I want to talk about a subject that I believe in, and I feel it's very important. So when we talk about empathy and starting to practice compassion, for example, according to me, this is a continuous process, and I get a feeling that what you do is not only going to help people get out of their position of distress or worry, but also will impact their minds to move in the right direction to become more compassionate individuals. What do you think about it, Karan?
Well, when we practice sophrology, we put a process in motion within you. As I said, it is this internal journey to feel better in your body, to feel better in your mind, and to have a better mind body connection. And what will happen with that is that we will arrive at a sort of a state of appreciation for oneself and one's life. And
Mm-hmm.
when you have that state of being, then you feel less of a tendency or a need to become defensive or to attack or um, to be jealous or envious of other people around you. So
Mm-hmm.
automatically, when you feel better about yourself and your life, you can have a more positive impact on the people around you. So that in the first step is already easy
Mm-hmm.
to make you more compassionate.
Mm-hmm.
And you will become less judgmental and you will have a greater tolerance. And all of those aspects of feeling good about yourself and not being swept away by all kinds of emotions will make you automatically more tolerant and compassionate towards the people around you. So it will make you create better relationships, not only with
Mm-hmm.
yourself, but of course with the world around you and the people around you. So yes, I'm convinced that that is something that is very important, and especially something that we need in the world right now with all the polarization between different groups. When people are more occupied with what other people are doing or having, then that creates a separation. When you
Mm-hmm.
are more occupied with your internal process and your internal journey and feeling good about yourself, then there's less need to, as I said, become jealous or envious or um,
Mm-hmm.
judgmental about other people. So, yes, I think it has a big impact on compassion worldwide.
Lovely. Um, so, working in this field, um, what do you think? Can you tell us a little about some of the challenges that come with this profession, if there are any you feel?
I think the biggest challenge in the beginning was, and that is becoming a little bit better, is that the methodology was originally developed in Spain. And
Mm-hmm.
then this Colombian living in Spain neuropsychiatrist married a French woman. So it was sort of a Southern Europe kind of thing. I always say it's the
Mm-hmm.
best kept secret in continental Europe. So it's very
Mm-hmm.
well known in Spain, it's very well known in France, but because of the language barrier, it never got sent out into the world like, for instance, mindfulness has.
Mm-hmm.
And although I'm a master mindfulness practitioner, I think Sophology is even a more complete
Mm-hmm.
and three-dimensional method. But that is one of the obstacles that I have discovered when I talk about Sophrology, that
Mm-hmm.
people have to experience it before finding out how practical it can be. It's not like
Mm-hmm.
meditation. I meditate for more than 10 years already. And in the beginning, that is something that is very vague and has to become practical for you. But Sophrology is even more hands-on. And
Mm-hmm.
then a third challenge could be that um, people need to be open to it. So if you want to experience Sophrology, it's not because um, your spouse or your parent or a teacher or your boss sent you to do Sophrology to become better. No, it is something that you have to be open to find
Mm-hmm.
out what are my individual obstacles in life that make me struggle so much, but that is an internal journey. I will just be there accompanying you. You will be driving the car. So I can't force you to drive that car. That is something that you have to be willing to do.
Makes sense. Okay. So, uh, we got to know about your life experiences with sophrology, and we got a glimpse of your a little bit from your personal life as well. I would now like for us to move into understanding sophrology a bit better. And in our conversation earlier, quite a lot of times actually, you mentioned that what you like about sophrology is that it is a three-dimensional method. Can you elaborate on that a little, please?
Well, the first thing about three-dimensionality within sophrology is the fact that it all starts with body awareness. A lot of other
Mm-hmm.
techniques are more up in the mind. Um, and the fact that there are yoga techniques incorporated and neuroscience has been incorporated has made it a very much a body awareness technique as well. And whatever we experience in the mind will express itself in the body. And if
Mm-hmm.
you have um, difficulties mentally, it's very hard to resolve that mentally. And because of its expression in the body, if you go through the body, then you can make it easier to resolve some of the mental issues that you have. So it starts out as a body method. It connects back the body to the mind, and then it reinforces the body mind connection and the way we express our emotions. So that is the first three-dimensional part. The
Mhm.
second thing is that although we, of course, have to live in the now and have to live in the present, one of the things that I like about Sophology that it also helps you to reframe your past. So it will help you to reconcile with the past. And it will help you to create a new, more positively um, future forward movement. Sometimes when we feel stuck, it's very hard to see all the options. So that is also something that we do in Sofology, and that we do by um, positive visualizations. So when we talk about the body, we talk about dynamic relaxation movements. When we talk about the mind and focusing on the future, then Sophology uses positive visualization to help you with that. So that's a second three-dimensionality, so past, present, and future. And then the other thing is that we work a lot of the time with the five senses,
Mhm.
being in a time
Mhm.
and in a certain place, and then making sure that we always think about positive action. So time, place, and movement. That's another three-dimensionality that we use in Sophrology. I hope that is
Okay.
clear. If there's any question about that,
Yeah.
I hope that I explained it.
Yeah. No, there are. I did not know there were aspects to the three dimensions as well. So it's very interesting to know that. It sounds Sophrology also to me it sounds like a very a spiritual journey. I mean, it is body and mind together, but it still sounds like a very spiritual journey to me. And I heard you mention earlier that it is a scientific method. So can you tell us a bit about what you mean by that?
Well, the scientific principle and the fact that it has been developed by a neuropsychiatrist means it has a very solid foundation, and it's a methodology that has a very solid foundation in neuroscience and in physiology and in psychology. And because of that, there's been a lot of research. Alfonso Caycedo, unfortunately, deceased not too long ago, about 2 years ago, and his daughter, who's also a neuropsychiatrist, has continued the institute. And there's a lot of research studies that have been done, officially published scientific journal studies with measurable results to find out, because we're talking about integrative medicine. Sophrology does not
Mm-hmm.
replace the medical science, but
Mm-hmm.
it is something that is very supportive when we have people that are dealing with cancer or Parkinson's disease.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those are the people that go through a certain process in the medical world, and then sophrology can help them uh, and make sure that the results that they are going to achieve in the medical world will become better and more impactful. For instance, a very important study has been done in 2009 for people with respiratory distress that had to use non-invasive ventilation. So that is something that is now very current. People with COVID disease, they need to wear masks, for instance, to support their
Mm-hmm.
respiratory system and to support their breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people have difficulties. There's a lot of issues with wearing masks or with using the helmet. And people have difficulties to adapt to that, and they have difficulties with the technology and the machine. But within the studies that they have done about, for instance, this non-invasive ventilation, what they have found is that the biggest issue with that is fear and anxiety. So the
Mm-hmm.
patients are in a state of fear and anxiety. So there was an official study in a French hospital to find out whether sophrology would be able to help people um, to wear the mask and to help them with their respiratory distress. And what they found was that in the group that were helped and were guided with Sophology practices, and they were offered Sophology practices,
Mm.
the breathing rate went down, the blood pressure went down, the heart rate went down, so all the stress and the anxiety went down, their level of oxygen went up, and they were more able to wear the ventilation support for a longer time. And it has a very positive effect on their respiratory failure and helping them to become
Mm.
better. So there as well, it's a very practical methodology to help people. What we see now is that, for instance, my Sophology voice has been recorded for a virtual reality device that is now
Wow.
being used in hospitals where people have interventions that give them stress or anxiety. It is now being used in healthcare professionals that are reaching a level of burnout almost because of being overwhelmed, and to put it on and to help them to relax and to get back to a state of calm.
Wow. That is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is
Yeah.
something that is very exciting for me. But the fact
Mm.
is, it is possible to measure the results of and the effectiveness of sophrology, and I'm very happy to see that that is being done because it will
Mhm.
make my job of not having to explain that it is actually a working methodology
Mhm.
less complicated, and I can do my job as a sophrologist and offer my technique to the people.
That is true. I hope this interview and many more of these interviews is just going to bring about more awareness about sophrology, and more people know about it. So it's easier for you to do your job.
Yeah.
Okay. So I hear you mention about burnouts and people who are overworked or overwhelmed with work. So I'm sure during the time of pandemic, many people have felt isolated while being restricted where they are in their life, be it emotionally or like actually physically restricted. It is extremely important for people to change their emotional state. And I would like to now ask you a few questions with respect to nuanced application of sophrology. So, for example, maybe I will start with people who are overworked, since you just mentioned them. There are obviously overworked individuals who have almost no time to regenerate, and in fact, for a lot of individuals, they struggle with the fact that there is almost no difference between home time and work time, and which leads to being overwhelmed with work and burnout. So, how does sophrology help here?
Well, first of all, what I really like about sophrology is that it does not take a lot of time. In the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, of course, when we do the practices and the exercises, we explain that to you, but then afterwards, this technique will be yours. You don't need me anymore. The thing
Mm-hmm.
about sophrology is that we train people to train their mind and their body so
Mm-hmm.
that they don't need us anymore, and that you can do those practices wherever you want to do them, whenever you want to do them, and they're very easy and hands-on. So that's not like, oh, we have to go into sort of a psychotherapy and you have to come back to me. So when I do my job well, um, there's a very short period in time where I will teach you how to do it, and then you will
Mm-hmm.
have it for the rest of your life. And those
Okay.
short practical exercises are something that you can do, very adaptable to your life. So now
Mm-hmm.
in this lockdown, for instance, the overwhelm, the fact that there's no boundaries, what sophrology can help you with is to relieve stress immediately by certain body movements. And that you
Mm-hmm.
can do, there's like sophrology on the go exercises. We will help you to know where your physical and mental state is at. And that is that consciousness that I was talking about. So in the morning when you get
Mm-hmm.
up, you have something really quick to check in and to feel what it is that I need today to
Mm-hmm.
reinforce certain capabilities, to be able to set healthy boundaries for yourself. But also, there are techniques to help you to organize your day, to have more focus and more clarity. So, there are very
Mm-hmm.
practical techniques to adapt to whatever you need in that certain type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
To make sure that you have a clearer and better communication with yourself at first, to know what do I need today, but that also makes sure that you can more clearly communicate with the people around you. And I think the one of the most important things is that this methodology is also something that you can do together, for instance, with your family. Children,
Mm-hmm.
especially because of the movements, children really like to do Sophrology as well, because it's something that you can do together, especially the
Oh,
physical movements. So if
so
you can
does
take out like 5 to 10 minutes with your family to do the movements together, that's even more fun.
okay. So does sophrology then cater to children as well, like their
Yes,
issues and
absolutely.
problems?
Yes,
Okay.
there's different exercises for children where we
Mm-hmm.
use more the language that is more adapted to children and to their level.
Mm-hmm.
But there's exercises that are no different for the adults as for children, so you can do that together.
Oh, that's interesting. Nice. And so I believe if I have to ask you about, if I have to give you other situations in an organization where people are working, it's going to be the same thing, right? Say, for example, I talked about overworked individuals. There are also several unemployed individuals who are struggling to get employed. And the impact that this has on the level of stress and also confidence is alarming. And also people who are sitting alone on the top in an organization, a leader for example, they must be lonely at that place, and they and how does one then deal with the void in that position?
I will touch on the both the people without work or the people within difficulties or risk or of losing their job, and the people that are, for instance, in a leadership position. As you said, it is lonely at the top. Sophology for people in a leadership position, well, you have to sort of compare it to a professional athlete. Sophology
Mm-hmm.
has been used by professional athletes like golfers and people that were in archery and the Olympic ski team in Switzerland. When you are at the top,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of pressure on you to perform. Sophrology has practical exercises to help you deal with performance anxiety, but also to reinforce certain capabilities and to reinforce certain resources within you that are always already present, but sometimes you lack the confidence, and we have techniques to reinforce that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Another thing is that, for instance, people that are in a leadership position, maybe they have to be a keynote speaker somewhere. We help people deal with anxiety in how to present themselves at important meetings or at a speaking event. To create more clarity and focus on where you want to go. As a leader, you need to have a vision.
Mhm.
Sophrology has practices where we work on the vision that you want to develop, for instance, for your company, whether those things are aligned with the values of you and with the
Mhm.
values of the company. So those are the
Mhm.
things that we of course, um, help on a personal performance level, which will
Mhm.
directly impact. So that is
Mhm.
leadership, huh? Vision, focus, clarity, performance, capabilities. Those are the things that we work on. And of course, stress management in general. Um,
Mhm.
but it depends on the person. As I said,
Mhm.
Sophology is very personal, very adaptable to that person. That person will have to tell me what the internal or individual obstacle is that makes him or her struggle. And that is
Mhm.
what we're going to work on. That is the information that I need to get. People, for instance, that are now in a position where they either have lost their job or are at risk of losing their job, the same thing that will give them a lot of stress. So we will help them to deal with stress. But another thing is that sometimes when you have lost your job, I cannot give you back your job. That is the situation as is, or when you are at risk of losing your job. The situation as is, I cannot change.
Mhm.
And whether you are stressed or going out of your mind with worry, that will not change the situation. So whether you stress or you don't stress, that situation
Mhm.
will be the same. So first of all, we will help you to get out of your mind when you're going out of your mind, for instance. When you're going out of your mind, I will try and get you out of your mind and get out of that stress.
Mhm.
Um, so reducing stress and anxiety is a good thing because when you're in that way, you will it's it's going to be very hard to find another job. Um, there's ways to help you overcome your fear of never
Mhm.
having or never finding another job again, or overcoming your fear to losing that job. So that will
Mhm.
help you with. And another thing is what I found really helpful within Sophology, because when I started studying it, I had lost my job because of physical things. So I had to change profession. And I didn't know what
Mhm.
my life was going to look like and whether at my age, because I'm now 57, I was 55, 54 then. So that is not a
Mhm.
very young age that companies like to hire you or so I had to figure out what to do with my life as well. And what Sophrology helped me with is exploring other options.
Mhm.
Because maybe the job that you lost, and if you can't find the same job, maybe you have to explore options. What are other capabilities that I have? And that is something that will create mind space with people. And the more mind space you have, the more positive vision you will have on the world around you, even if you have lost your job. Um,
Mhm.
so that is things that we will help people with at the moment in this pandemic. And I can remember not too long ago, I had a client who is a marketing manager still, but the company is really suffering economically. There's a lot of
Mhm.
pressure on this person to market and to make sales because sort of this person is almost made responsible for the survival of the company. Now, that is a very stressful position to be in, to carry that around. First of all, fearing and having that risk of maybe losing your job, and it's on your shoulders whether the company will survive or not. And so that person was almost at the edge of really breaking down.
Mhm.
And with a couple of about 5 sessions of sophrology, We reduced the level of stress. We created more options, a different vision, but we also helped him to create healthy boundaries and becoming
Mm-hmm.
very personally aware that you as a person are not responsible for the survival of this company, and not having that stress and worry in your backpack all of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Because when you carry
Mm-hmm.
that around, it will
Mm-hmm.
even be harder to make a sale or to market your product, because then
Right.
the client will sense this um, feel of panic within you when you try to make a sale. So that is not helping. And that has been very effective for this person.
Nice. So there is a good story to it as well, where Sophrology has helped people in your practical life, and it is important. It is important to seek for help when need be.
Absolutely. You
Yeah.
have to, life does not have to be a struggle. And the more you try to do things on your own, um, the more you will be the hamster in the rod.
Mm-hmm.
And it is very hard to have a helicopter view. And if by having a couple of techniques to empower you and to get this helicopter view and
Mm-hmm.
to give you some headspace in a very short amount of time, why wouldn't you try that?
Right. So what? So I heard you say that. I heard you mention the term going through the process of sophrology. What does it mean to go through the process of sophrology? If one of our audiences wishes to go through the process of sophrology, what would that entail?
Well, if someone wants to try out sophrology with whatever sophrologist, it is first of all important to have a connection. It's the same with when you have a coach or whomever you do business with. In every kind of relation, it is important that you have a click with the person. So
Mm-hmm.
before I start working with a client, there's sort of this preliminary interview, sort of
Mm-hmm.
an intake. I don't want to call
Mm-hmm.
it an intake because that makes it very therapeutic, but it's just an interview in which we connect. I will ask you what the issue is that you're struggling
Mm-hmm.
with, or what it is that you want to achieve. It doesn't have to be an issue that is blocking you. It can also be an improvement, an upgrade of your life that you want to achieve a certain goal. So I will ask you some questions about that. And then I will explain to you how a session works. Well, I will tell that right now. A session with a sophrologist goes as follows. We will, the moment of the session, we will ask you where you are at, the
Mm-hmm.
mental state, the physical state, what your day is like, because we adapt our practice or our guidance to your state. It's about you, so that you can benefit the most of the experience. So we'll do a very short question. Where are you at?
Mm-hmm.
And then we start to do the practice. The practice is either done sitting down, standing up, or lying down, depending on you, your comfort level.
Mm-hmm.
And I will explain what we are going to do. Not because I want you to memorize that, but as soon as I have already told your brain
Mm-hmm.
the guidance that we are going through, the brain doesn't have to think. I can get you out of your thinking mind more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And you have the freedom to go on this internal journey. I will guide you through the exercise, and Sophrology will bring you into an alpha brainwave state. The alpha brainwave state means that you are in a more relaxed frame of mind. And in this more relaxed frame of mind, we will help you to reconnect with your body and your mind and to reconnect the both, because all the answers are already within you. And so you will get some information. For instance, people that are overwhelmed, and have a
Mm-hmm.
difficulty to set healthy boundaries, they need to know and to need to learn to listen to their body signals, to know when to say stop. So I will guide you through the practice. At the end of the practice, I will bring you out of it. I will bring you back to the here and now, to the place where you are. And then I will ask you to write down what you experienced during the guidance. That experience, to write that down, is something that uses a different part of your brain. When you start writing something down, different areas in your brain are being used, and this will deepen the experience, and it will sometimes more or different information comes up as soon as you start writing. And then at the end of the session, I will ask you to share some of that experience when you're willing, whatever you want to share with me. I will ask you, and then I will do a feedback on that. And that will give me the information to give you some advice. Well, if you have experienced this or that, maybe at home try this twice a week or do that. So that is, I will give you some homework, but depending on what came up in the feedback. And
Right.
that is it. And the brainwave state that we bring you in is not hypnosis. It's not that far down. You will be completely aware. You will be present in, you will just have your eyes closed, and the alpha brainwave state is sort of a meditative state. But in hypnosis, people are guided. I can tell you, stand up, do this and that. And that's not what we do. Because as I said, I am not at the wheel. You will be at the wheel all times. At all times, it will be you doing the adventure. And that is very important, because sometimes people are afraid that I, bring them, or no, that is not what it is. So that is a very important thing as well to know. So
Right.
it's all about you.
Okay. So then I also heard you mention mindfulness, cognitive behavior therapy, and few other methods of this kind, um, and a few that I might not know of as well. So can you help us understand how sophrology is different from these other methods?
I think the most important thing is that Sophrology has these dynamic relaxation exercises in where we use movement to help people to get out of their mind. A lot of techniques like meditation and cognitive behavioral therapy and mindfulness are using the mind, but people that are in a state of stress, and especially now in this lockdown where we are continuously in our minds, because we do not have a normal going out life, going dancing or sporting outdoors, or we are already up there all of the time. The Sophology uses the body and tension release exercises, which is a proven muscular relaxation, to relax the mind. So that is one of the big differences. And it is a different entry port to make people stop stop people from worrying, from going out of their mind and going out of their thoughts, because feelings and thoughts are the ones that create our emotions, create our doubts, create our stress, create our lack of confidence. It's the inner critic that does the blah blah up here. And if we can get out of that, and that is one of the main differences with Sophology, that it's using the body to relax the mind as a
Okay.
first
So
step.
okay, what do you mean as the first step?
Well, as the first step, because in Sophology we have different levels, and those
Mm-hmm.
different levels. Um, as I said, we start with the body to relax the mind. And as
Mm-hmm.
soon as we have created that headspace, we can move forward, for instance, to create visions and create a future that is very
Mm-hmm.
specific for you,
Mm-hmm.
in which you become the author of your own life and the way you want to show up in the world, the values that you want to stand for, the vision that you want to create. But we can't do that in a mind that is stressed out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So, do you mind? Can you take us through a practical experience of sophrology? Maybe, you mentioned that sophrology has several exercises, on the go exercises, as you mentioned. So maybe I can and our audience together can do something with you.
Yes, of course, we can do that. Normally, Sophrology follows a certain sequence, but we are going to do a very short on-the-go one.
Mm-hmm.
And here, I'm going to do it sitting down for the camera and for the interview. People that have a hard time staying seated because they're a bit edgy and a bit stressed, they can do it standing up. That
Mm-hmm.
is not a problem. First of
Mm-hmm.
all, I will explain what we are going to do. It's a very
Mm-hmm.
simple exercise
Mm-hmm.
and a very short one that you can do wherever you are, just to release some tension. So this is something that you can do before you are called by your boss for something that you don't know what is hanging over your head, before
Mm-hmm.
you when you sit in a parking spot before you have to go into a medical appointment, for instance, and when we are stressed, when we go into an important meeting, before we go wherever into a situation that is stressing us out. And this
Mm-hmm.
is very short and simple, and it's a bit physical as well. So what we are going to start with is doing a little movement that is called the tratak. And the tratak is a movement based on a
Mm-hmm.
meditation, a candle meditation movement,
Mm-hmm.
um, in which we balance our mind and we increase
Mm-hmm.
some focus to make it easier to go inward. So what
Mm-hmm.
we are going to do, you don't have to do it with me right now. This is just the explanation. We're going to raise our arm in front of us and we're going to focus our gaze, our eyes on one fixed point. And I will suggest that it is the thumbnail. So you
Karin, do you
close your
mind
fist.
coming? Sorry, do you mind coming a bit in the center of the screen so you're more visible? Perfect.
So
Yeah.
like this.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we raise our arm and we're going to clench our fist or close our fist, not really clench it. And then we
Mm-hmm.
focus our eyes on the thumbnail. When we inhale, we are going to bring the thumb towards a point between the eyebrows or the point of our third eye. While we bring it towards us, we hold our breath after inhaling, and we will notice that our eyes will start to cross, of course, as we come closer. When our
Mm-hmm.
eyes start to cross, we close our eyes and we exhale and we relax our arms. When you're standing up, you relax your arms alongside your body. When you're sitting
Mm-hmm.
down, you can place both your hands on your thighs to be relaxed.
Okay.
And then we're going to do a really short body scan to become presently aware of our whole body from top to bottom, to find out where it is that we feel stressed, that we might feel stress in our body.
Mm-hmm.
After having done that, we're going to release that stress by raising our arms in front of us.
Mm-hmm.
On the inhale, we close our fist, holding our breath. We're going to tense up every muscle in our body, the buttocks, the thighs, the arms, even the face. We have our eyes
Mm-hmm.
closed, so we can make this really weird face. And when we feel the need to exhale,
Okay.
we release. We release the tension in our muscles, And we can even shake out our hands a little bit and release. And we're going to do that 2 times.
Okay.
Again, inhale, hold the breath, tense up all the muscles in our body, and then on the exhale.
Okay.
And we can visualize blowing out the tension, for instance, like smoke or a bubble filled with something black, or with a word that is worrying you, or maybe as fire when you feel a lot of anxiety, sort of a bowl of fire, whatever makes sense to you. And then we're going to be losing my earpiece. Then we are going to take a little time of pause to find out what that feels like, what has changed after releasing that tension. And then we're going to inhale, focus on our feet, bring the attention to our feet to become grounded. And then we are going to end with a very small positive visualization. And then I'll bring you back to the here and now, into the place where we are.
Okay.
Are we ready?
I guess. Yes.
It's very simple. Remind yourself that nothing is expected of you. Just go through it. Whatever you feel is fine. No judgment. And you do not have to feel anything. Just go with it and enjoy taking this time out for yourself. That's the only thing that is important. You're doing your mind and your body a little favor. You're giving yourself a little present. Okay? Good. So when we feel ready, we're going to take a comfortable position, whether you're sitting in a chair or whether you prefer to lie down or to stand up. You're going to make yourself as comfortable as possible. Your arms alongside your body or your hands placed loosely on your thighs. Make sure your head is pointed, directed towards the sky. And if you are feeling comfortable and ready, with our eyes open, we're going to raise our arm in front of us. We're going to close the fist. We're going to use the tratak to balance our mind and to connect our mind to our body. We're going to focus our gaze, our eyes on the nail of our thumb, on our thumbnail. And we're going to place the thumb at the height of our forehead, somewhere between our eyebrows. Inhale. Holding your breath, you're going to bring the thumb towards the place between your eyebrows, crossing the eyes. When your eyes cross, you close your eyes and exhale, releasing the arm and place it alongside your body or on your thigh. And we're going to become aware of the presence of our body, our head, our scalp, all the muscles in our face, our jaw unclenching, the presence of our shoulders, our back, our chest, our abdomen, our pelvis, our buttocks, our thighs, the whole of our lower extremities, and our feet, and points of contact of our body with the chair, with the ground we are standing on, or with the couch or the bed that we are lying on. We are presently aware and conscious of our body, and maybe we can feel stress or worry or anxiety in a certain part of our body. And we're going to bring our attention to that part of our body, and we're going to prepare ourselves to release that tension by raising our arms in front of us. Both our arms, we're going to raise both our arms in front of us, closing our fists. We're going to inhale, holding our breath. We are going to tense up every muscle in our body, the face, the buttocks. And on the exhale, we blow out, we open our hands, and we release and slowly release the muscle tension. And if you want to, you can even start to move your hands and then we place them alongside our body or on our thighs. And we breathe naturally. We inhale and exhale within our own comfort zone, on our own personal rhythm, our natural breathing. And we're going to repeat this for a second time. We're going to raise both our arms in front of us. We close our fists. We inhale through the nose. Holding our breath, we are tensing up all the muscles in our body. Tense, tense, tense a little bit more. And on the exhale, we blow out. We release. We may want to move our hands and we get rid of all the tension. We liberate our body and our mind from worry and stress. And we slowly relax our arms and place them on our thighs or alongside our body. And we're going to take a little pause to feel, to check in, to tune in and feel what has changed for us after releasing the tension, after liberating our body and our mind of unnecessary worry. Enjoy this time that you're taking out for yourself, and know that it is appreciated. Whatever you feel is fine. Whatever sensation is present in the here and now, without any judgment. And we're going to focus our attention on our feet, the way our feet are connected to the earth. We are going to become consciously aware of our feet in our socks or in our shoes, the way our toes are placed, and feel connected to the earth and grounded. And we breathe in naturally, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And with this connection and this feeling and this sensation of feeling grounded, we're going to prepare ourselves to evoke something positive, something that makes us feel joy and enthusiasm. We're going to picture that in front of us. In our mind's eye, we're going to connect with that one thing that makes us feel happiness and joy. And every time we inhale, we feel the sensation of happiness and joy install itself in every single part of our body. It's being reinforced and it circulates through every vibrant cell. And it gives us a feeling of life force and vitality, of well-being. With every time we inhale, this feeling of well-being and vitality is becoming more and more present in every fiber of our body, radiating within us. And with all these positive feelings and sensations present within us in the here and now, being well aware of the fact that these feelings of well-being and this positive perception will stay with us for the rest of the day and the days to come. We are going to slowly become aware of the light filtering through our eyelids. We are going to become more and more aware of our surroundings by breathing in a little bit more deeply. And we're going to start to move our hands a little bit, maybe to turn our wrists, going to start to wiggle our toes. Maybe we want to stamp our feet on the floor a little bit to become more and more presently aware of the sounds and the light and the place where we are. And only when you feel ready, completely ready to come back to the here and now, you can open your eyes. Hello, Isha. Are you there?
Right
So
here, right here.
normally after a small exercise, we would ask you to write down what you have experienced to prolong the experience of the exercise and to see whatever comes up when you've used that different part of your brain. And then I would
Mm-hmm.
ask you if you would want to share. Hey, we switched. If you would
Yeah.
want to share your experience with me. So, would you like to tell me something about what you experienced during this practice?
Well, I uh, initially it felt like it will be difficult to be able to concentrate because I have I am not a meditative person and I have always struggled doing it. But just doing the first bit, tratak, is it called? Yeah.
Yes, the
Uh,
tratak.
yeah. So bringing the thumb closer to the forehead, the third eye, the center of the forehead. Uh, I did feel some energy, and I did feel a sort of tension when I closed my eyes then. And I think by the end of this journey, I do feel a little more relaxed.
What would be the most positive for you after having done this practice?
What would be the most positive part of it?
Yes.
The releasing of the tension with the breath.
Okay.
That
Yeah.
was a very, it was physical, and it did feel like I was doing yeah, it did feel like some energy was coming out. So that was the best
Okay.
part.
So if I listen to you correctly, and we would have known this before, but I only discovered this now, is because, and that's exactly my point of the whole interview, it has been coming back. People that are really stressed or not very prone to meditation or mindfulness, that is where the body movements come in. So normally
Mm-hmm.
with you, I would have, and because of the interview, we can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I would have put away the chair and we would have done physical movements to bring you to that state of relaxation. And the fact that you
Mm-hmm.
really like the tension release exercises proves that for you, I would go even more through the body and then
Mm-hmm.
maybe in the future go through the more mind and the sitting. But I would start
Mm-hmm.
with more dynamic relaxation exercises for you. And that is what
Mm-hmm.
adaptability is about. Um,
Right.
the fact that you already felt a release of tension is a good
Mm-hmm.
thing. But this means that for you, we would adapt the exercises differently. And that is very
Mm-hmm.
personal. For instance, there's also people that do not like to be coached and to talk a lot about what is going on. And for those people as well, Sophrology is a really good methodology because you don't have to speak to me. I just guide you
Mm-hmm.
to an alpha brainwave state in which things will, your body and your mind will do the things for you. And you will
Mm-hmm.
get some answers and some information from your body and your mind. That's what I'm giving you the space for to do. So you don't
Mm-hmm.
have to uh, tell me in detail about your childhood, for instance, and the issues that you have. Um, and that is something that is very practical for instance, uh,
Mm-hmm.
men that do not like to talk about their emotions, for instance, or
Mm-hmm.
people that
Mm-hmm.
in general that do not like to talk, the introverts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's all about adaptability.
Wonderful. We saw it in action, so that's the best way one can do it.
You saw some of it in action, but I have to say, there's a lot of videos now available also with the body, the dynamic relaxation movements. I have put on videos on YouTube and on Instagram where you can already go through some of the practices. And there is some other English speaking, it's coming up doing the same. So if you want to see
Mhm.
more dynamic Sophrology in action, there is a lot of stuff out there. So
Okay, perfect. So we'll do that. I believe that we're already over our 1 hour time limit. It's already 1.5 hours, and
yes,
which is incredible because we had a lot to talk about and we had a lot to share. So I think it's a good time to wrap up our conversation. And for that, Karin, I have a final question for you. Can you give us a metaphor for sophrology?
well, I don't know whether it's exactly a really good metaphor, but I always said that sophrology for me is like having my own personalized power toolbox with filled with coping tools for whatever situation or life event lands on my path. So it's either a backpack full of not magical tricks. So that's why I like to call it like a toolbox, my power
Mhm.
toolbox. So if I need to drill because I need more perseverance and I need to, then I take out the drill. If I
Mhm.
need to take out a tool to pull out a nail, which is like something that I have to let go of, or something that is, for instance, I am a chronic pain patient after the accidents. We have practices that can help you with chronic pain, back
Mhm.
pain, or to stimulate a certain part of your physiology. I have all these tools neatly packed in my superpower toolbox, very personalized for me. So that is what sophrology means to me.
Lovely. That's beautifully put together. It is incredible the conversation we had today, Karin. I am so glad that we did this. I am sure that our audience and everybody who is live with us right now also felt the same way. uh, Absolutely positive that we all had a very enriching session. So, thank you, our audience, for tuning in and for sticking around with us till this moment. Big thank you to Karin for carving out time for being a part of TLR shows and educating us on the topic of sophrology. It was a delight to chat with you, Karin.
Well, I want to thank you for the invitation. I want to thank the audience for their patience. I hope I was able to convey uh, whatever makes me tick about sophrology, and that I did the science uh, justice, and that I explained it in a comprehensive way to make people want to
Absolutely.
try.
Absolutely. I feel so. I am sure the audience feels so too. So I would like to tell the audience also. So please follow Karin on her social media platforms to learn more about sophrology. And if you have any questions that you would want to ask Karin about sophrology, I think her email address can is flashing on the
Yes,
screen right now. So you can reach out to her anytime and ask her things, and you can contact her for her services as well. She gives coaching, training in sophrology, and also coaches you in sophrological methods for your personal life and as well as your professional life. So there's a lot to offer there. So do reach out to her. And for more uplifting and enriching conversations like this, follow TLR now and stay updated about TLR shows. Thank you again, everybody, for joining in. We have, yeah, I am glad to see that this was a very active participation and interactive session. So, hope to talk to Karin again. I would like to thank you and everybody for joining in. Until next time, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye.